be using a blank SPSS dataset. So I'm going to pretend like I've got absolutely nothing. I've also made a little mock survey just so I got some examples of data in which I can enter. So for today's tutorial, I've made a little 6-question survey. Very, very simple stuff. If you're entering in your own data, I'm sure your surveys are much more complex, but the difficulty of entering in data doesn't increase with more variables. It's just a replication of the same process. So yeah, so the little survey that I've made has 6 variables: ID, age, gender, weight, height, and smoking status. So do you smoke cigarettes? Very simple stuff. Now, one thing that students often get confused with in SPSS is how to set up the rows and columns. Now, usually people come from SPSS with a little bit of experience from Excel, where you get a choice of what goes in rows or columns. However, SPSS doesn't give you that choice. By default, and forcing you basically, you have to have your variables as columns and your cases as rows. So you can see here at the top of SPSS, there's VAR, 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 var. They're all blank variables. That's where our variable names will enter. And 1 all the way down to infinity, that's where your cases will go. So each one of these variables here will end up being a column name. So I'm going to go ahead and swap from data view to variable view down the bottom here and show you how to set up variables. So I'm going to set up each one of these 6. So my first one has a name of ID. Oh, sorry, bear with me. Age, gender, all the names look nice and self-explanatory. The only thing I did different was with smoking status. I decided not to put in the whole actual question. S status is enough for me to remember what that variable is. So remember, these variable names are for your benefit. So if you can use the shortest form possible, that's fantastic, nice and quick. However, sometimes you want to add a little bit more information than just the name of the variable. That's what this label column's for. So I'm going to go ahead and write, do you smoke cigarettes? So it's going to give any of the statistical output that I generate in SPSS that extra label just so I know or remember what it is. These labels are also good for when you have situations where you have to share data sets between different colleagues, because one person's name might make sense to them, but when another person goes to view the data set, they might be a little bit confused. I'm not going to add labels to height, weight, gender, age, or ID because the names are all telling the